Falcons are just within the area and that they won't have enough burst damage just yet. Close call for Oheb as well, but that's aside the fact that Super Marco also came in. Few was just free to throw out the feathered airstrike, and now Team Liquid Philippines are clearly on the defense.
Right now, you don't want TLPH to be on the defense. So far, they're having a hard time initiating anything against Team Falcons. Even Team Falcons jumps in once again. Wiki shadow kill from the back, paired up with the feathered airstrike from Few. All the while, Super Marco just working on the turret, delivering the damage, gonna bring down JP. One member down. Oh, it's still quite tacky as TLPH takes care of the Lord.
You see the damage coming from Super Marco. And now that we're about to look at his items, this pretty much explains why he's almost 2k ahead of Oheb.
Another jump in from Flaptazy. Sanford got caught there. SOD casted right on time as Team Falcons focuses on the top lane.
Whether it be from lane to lane, whether it be across the map or literally point blank right in front of you, Marco never misses the SOD. And they're continuing to apply pressure. Top lane up next.
Oh my goodness! Kyle Tazy went after Sanji once again. 2 members down for TLPH. TLPH's Team Falcons also gets the inhibitor up top.
The bloodthirsty Blade just does not let up. They're approaching 10k!
Yeah, it's already an 8.1k gold lead. And Few just got his hands on that Divine Glaive. So imagine
Oh!
wait!
Oh, a throw onto Super Marco. They catch him, but a quick response from Team Falcons. Super Marco stays alive. The Bulletproof still here. Kyle Tazy delivers the Wiki Shadow Kill to bring down JP. Sanford is gone as well. Flaptazy working on Oheb, and they take down Carl Tazy. A double for Marco.
He missed, but he never misses. A forward flicker to take down the young goat. Look, folks, he did not rock Purify. He survived that engagement with a flicker.
And he had the Wind of Nature too. So he was able to survive the damage from TLBH!
There's the engage. Kyle Tazy again jumps in with Shadow as they take down Inhibitor in the middle lane. But TLPH fortunately will be able to clear out the minions.
A bare base, an open field for the Stallions to think about what went wrong. Ingan, you said, at this point in the game, Liquid does not want to be on the back foot. They don't want to be in the defense. I'll tell you now, at minute 1, they didn't want that. The game started. As soon as they began the draft, they did not want that. As soon as they locked in that jaw hit.
It's hard. I mean, you saw JP, all his ejectors are defensive, are reactive, and in the rare cases that he wants to be proactive, it's Flaptazy or Ogwin that he manages to throw.
Conceal play already committed by Team Liquid Philippines, but there's an answer from Team Falcons.
Here comes Ogwin with the shield immunity, keeping TLPH at bay because there's a major objective up for grabs. Lord is up.
Now that they've already used up the conceal, they'll have to find other ways to go around this, but it's gonna be very difficult, especially for Carl Tazy. He's still pretty much behind, although they already might want to take this on.
Ogwin from the back, and they latch on to JP, a mega kill. Coming in from Flaptazy, 1 member down. Team Falcons, do they go for the extra engage? Few chasing after the members of TLPH. Cast a feathered airstrike. Marco with the SOD again as Kyle Tazy gets the Lord, but he shut him down. Is this enough time for TLPH? Because their base, there are minions for Team Falcons, and TLPH will clear it out.
A slight miscalculation by Falcons. They thought they could go, but another chance at ending the game here. Oh, Sanford and Kyle Tazy. Kyle Tazy single-handedly pushing them out. Liquid lives another day.
Yeah, but JP's so heavily punished in this game. He can barely look for a setup for Team Liquid. There's almost no one within reach that he could toss towards the members of Team Liquid Philippines. Fortunately, they're able to buy enough time. We're already approaching 15 minutes. So Oheb definitely, probably at least is lacking just one more item.
The trade onto Super Marco bought enough time for Team Liquid Philippines to take care of the Lord in the middle lane without any pressure for the side of Team Falcons. But it was all part of the plan of Team Falcons to go for a sacrificial play, secure the Lord. But fortunately for the cavalry, they were able to get not just 1 but 2 bodies of Team Falcons.
And a majority of that is held in weight by Marco. You take out Marco, you have half the problem solved. In comes Ogwin. Kyle Tazy coming to shadow kill!
And also Wiki shadow kill to be able to keep TLPH at bay, but the clear of TLPH is just too much. OHIP being able to dish out the damage, and you can clearly see TLPH slowly scaling up.
What was that? Kyle Teasy, we've seen him do this multiple times in this game, but that was the first time we saw it lead to really nothing.
I mean, they were prepared. Again, the threat of an ejector, and at the same time, Sanford being able to have his flicker, and the combo from the Badang can turn the tides for them. For sure, Ogwin knows that because he's been doing that with the Badang.
Yeah, but this is gonna be tricky though. Team Falcons, Flap and Ogwin have already picked up their immortalities 15 minutes into this game. So they were already winning pretty much most of the fights that were taking place. But now they can afford to go a little more aggressive since they already have those items within their builds. But they also have to consider that, yes, Team Liquid Philippines, they are gradually scaling, and there will be definitely some opportunities for them considering that the lead is slowly shrinking, now down to 5K in favor of Team Falcons.
Falcons is still in control, that much we know. The map is blue, Liquid, the amount of space that they can play with, very limited. I'm wondering, who is building anti-heal? Where is it right now? Because Flap, #1 on top of the charts in damage taken, and he's died a record 0 times. I think they have to deal with him first, and then maybe we can talk. Maybe we can find a comeback angle.
Yeah, but it does seem like Sanji is the one who tries to go for either Few or Super Marco. He puts himself out there. He actually tries to disrupt so much of the backlines, and that's a huge responsibility if you're Sanji. You want to do so many things at once, being the Jushin of this lineup.
So much weight on the shoulders of the lone stallion. Sometimes it always comes down to him to do the job. In game 2, he did just that, took down Marco alone, but now he needs help. Oheb and Carl Deasy, not a single C halberd between them.
Yeah, and that help could start from JP or either Sanford. One could set up on the proper targets. It's spell disaster for Team Falcons, but this could be a potential play for the Cavalry. We saw in game number 2, Sanji was able to solo kill Super Marco that set the tone for the game. Could they do it here again?
All right, 3 members of Liquid moving up, but concealed by JP. They walk into him!
Few goes in with a feathered airstrike, and they burst down Sanford immediately. Kyle Teasy quite low here, he has to back off. They set their eyes onto JP, still has his immortality as TLPH has to back off.
Was that an ambush or an unfortunate encounter?
It was something similar to what happened with Sanji and Marco in game number 1. He just waited for the Curse of Crow and bursted everyone right in front of him. And Team Liquid Philippines definitely had to go back because they had to take into account Super Marco and the potential split. So with an exposed base, this is going to be a difficult defense.
That's painful. Now Liquid knows how it feels for them to walk into a random bush and get blasted.
They did it in game number 2, and now Team Falcons again with the clapback. Lord is on their side, 5K gold lead. TLPH has 5 members to defend, but is this gonna be enough for the Cavalry?
All right, Lord marching up. Amazing synchronization by Falcons. 3 waves coming through, and the fight breaks out.
There's the ultimate Wiki Shadow Kill and Feathered Airstrike. JP was able to throw out Ogwin, but there's the Revitalize coming in from the Master. Flap Teasy latches onto Sanford. Super Marco jumps in and locks on the base. And Team Falcons finally a win.
In the clash of titans, you can't expect a sweep. Not like this. Falcons on the board, 2-1.
They've learned too much from what happened in the past 3 days of the playoffs. They definitely cannot let it end like this.
And they were dominant. Falcons, amazing work. Let's start the Red Martin Rock card to see exactly how Falcons did just that.
Marco, there's Super Marco. Oh, we're on. Hey.
Oh, there you go. So that was a bit of a, sorry, we were reenacting Super Marco just going ham in that one, and the Falcons are on the leaderboard, the scoreboard.
Okay, there was another reason as to why I was flipping out over Sasuke showing up instead of the Lancelot. There's magic damage on the side of Falcons. Farsa in the mid, you had the Baksha in the roam, and then the glue in the EXP lane. The main adjustment to Suyo was his removal of magic defense with his immortal form. And going up against a lineup that has a Farsa and a Baksha on the other side, it's tough for a Suyo to shine. Hence why you saw Falcons take control of the game early on. Kyle Teasy went crazy on the Hayabusa. Carl Teasy went up against the monster that he made. by winning a world championship. Kyle Teasy, 9-1 and 9. He was the guy in this game number 3.
That's right. This is the monster that was born out of Kyle Teasy's Teasy blade.
Yeah.
And we are seeing him in action. Full stop here. He's giving so much. Actually, and even at the very end, those Shadow Kills were able to actually take down the single targets on its own. So that just goes to show how ahead this Hayabusa was in terms of damage scaling. And when you scale that well, you are the biggest threat. Aside from obviously Super Marco, who is just on the opposite side of the map, wreaking havoc to your towers.
Yeah, and again, let's go back to what I mentioned in the draft earlier when it came to Team Liquid Philippines. They were more proactive with the choices that they made, while Falcons looked like they were a little bit more reactive. However, sometimes the best offense is a good defense. The reactions Falcons had in the draft were better in the long run, and they played it in game. Although there was something that Brigida tried to foresee, where maybe what if Falcons would be reactive. No, they were very proactive in the game, while Team Liquid Philippines were the ones reacting to what Kyle Teasy was doing in the early to mid-game, to the point where even when JP, he saw Kyle Teasy, was like, I really want to get this dude down. Team Liquid Philippines were there to respond, but Kyle Teasy was just able to get away, and eventually that became not the right pick to try and go for.
So it's really hard to blame TLPH as well for playing that way, because it was so hard for either JP or Sanford to make a pick-off happen, because in order to do that, you had to get close to the glue, you had to get close to basically a walking wheel, which is Ogwen, and you were gonna get pushed off by either the Spear of Misery, right? It's so difficult.
Super Marco, excellent in this game. The fact that he was able to survive that with just a flicker out, and of course Kyle Teasy yet again, this is his highlight reel as well, being able to just find the back line. The only error I think that Falcons had in this game was when Super Marco decided to go in here, because this was where it started to feel like Team Liquid Philippines would have enough to turn the game around. But then that was it. Now, Falcons were sharp, Falcons held key objectives. It was Team Liquid Philippines desperately trying to find the unique angle to crawl back into this game and find a better position for themselves, but Falcons stuck to their fundamentals. Yes, they played defensive in the draft, but they played proactive in the game.
Yeah, you can feel the giggle from Falcons in this one, because I feel like Super Marco super locked in on what he needed to do. Again, almost each and every SOD actually hit.
Yes.
And it really had a high impact, except for that last one you pointed out. But everything else was just, wow. You actually gave us a bit of a masterclass as well on how to really execute that Farsa very early on.
Yeah, and again, another thing to point out about the lineup of Falcons here, they have the Revitalize with them. There's no Revitalize at the side of Team Liquid Philippines, and that's why the early pickoffs that they tried to attempt just could not push through. There were members of Falcons who would just have enough health to survive and then keep fighting. And well, this is what this lineup is built for, fighting. Remember the last time we said where heroes that are stronger with continuous basic attack damage are very good against lineups that are tanky, slow front to back. Yes, Team Liquid Philippines are playing pick-off in a way, but when you have the Granger with you, you have an element of slow front to back with you. But Super Marco said, let me come from all angles with my SOD, being able to reach the back line when I need to.
That's right, you have a pick-off lineup, but everyone else in front was so hard to eject her. And the guy that you're supposed to eject her, if you had to Purify, and Super Marco obviously is very far away from the fight, and the Hayabusa, good luck catching that one. So I get the problem that TLPH had here. Obviously, it was very difficult for them to actually make kills happen. That's why it's a 25-6 on the kill score, with Kyle Teasy as our BPI rich guy. Everything else, you did a majority of either making the damage happen or getting into the KP.
Yeah, definitely popping up here. The living legend in Few, showing why he is a living legend. Just when this team needed the most, you saw Falcons really understood that they cannot lose this game. They cannot be down 3-0 because it's going to be a titanic crawl to a turnaround. But they took over. They knew they needed to win this one.
Yeah, of course, 824 GPM is no laughing matter. Like we said, that's the reason why he scaled so well. Like, one target in TLPH was equal to one shadow kill. Actually, one shadow kill was like 1.5. So that's how strong Kyle TZ was in this match.
All right, so let's talk a little bit more about some of the minutiae of the game. Yes, this game was determined a lot by the moves of Kyle TZ going into the shadow, committing the shadow kill, and the rest of Falcons just following up. Or the moves of Few, going in, being aggressive, utilizing the Curse of Crow, the stun right away, and then bringing down a feathered airstrike. So to set things up for Kyle TZ and the rest of the team. This was a game determined a lot by the kills that Falcons were getting aggressively. Close relatively up until it eventually got out of the hands of Team Liquid Philippines, because when the Lord spawned and Team Falcons were able to get that without a problem, they got kills to boot as well. The league just expanded. Team Liquid Philippines only got 2 turtles in this game, got a turret. Yes, they were getting the turtles, but then again, the question is, can you convert the major objectives into even more objectives? The answer was no, sadly enough, for Team Liquid Philippines. While for Falcons, the answer for them was yes, we will be able to convert the major objectives. Mainly, they weren't converting the turtles, they were mainly converting towers. They were converting lords into towers, and they were converting that into gold, into space. Space, which is very good for a lineup that has a Moskov and a Farsa with them. Again, the fact that they had the Revitalize and the Baksha meant that the early game team fights and pickoffs that Team Liquid Philippines wanted to get are going to be so much harder to take. When you have the glue rotating out of the EXP lane to join the fights alongside the Baksha, alongside the Farsa, that will make Suyo struggle. Suyo going up against magic damage is a struggle for early to mid. They leaned a little bit too hard, I feel like, on the Jawhead and Suyo combination. If that was something like a Gatot instead of the Roam, then you would have the taunt to counter-engage what Team Falcons wanted to do. You would have a jump into the back line to make sure that you could try to force a reaction out of Few, out of Super Marco. And of course, we know how Gatot can survive long enough in team fights anyway, so that he will be able to deal that sudden burst of basic attack damage that he would get with his passive. And most importantly, if they had a Gatot fanboying. It's because of the whole magic damage relationship that we pointed out. So let's look at the item path here for Super Marco compared to Oheb, who's getting his core items first. Of course, with the 1,500 price of the Sky Piercer, we'll get that before the Golden Staff. But the fact that the Golden Staff came almost the same time as the Sky Piercer of Oheb shows just how fast Super Marco was able to get farm without that much of a problem. Oheb got his Malefic Roar almost the same time as Super Marco. Credits the Team Liquid Philippines for being able to keep the farm of Oheb relatively close, but they were just losing everything else. Their roamer pickoff time against a lineup that has a Baksha and Glue, so difficult to pull off. I feel like that, again, will hammer down that point. Miscalculation, could have been got something else. Probably would have fared better up against the Faisal Falcons, and increasing the chances that Team Liquid Philippines will be able to capitalize on punishing the errors that Falcons could have potentially made. But we live in this reality where it was Falcons who won the game. The item progression for Few as well, very good. Not as lightning touch 12 minutes in, but that's because he was very active with being present in the game. He got his Divine Glaive at 14 minutes in, and by that point, you're all already locked in. So, a great game by Falcons, great draft, and of course a great game by Super Marco. Let's look at his average patch 9.64 stats for the mid-game stats for the 8 minutes. I did not break that, did I? Oh no, my goodness. Whew, I thought I'd lose a chunk of my talent fee there. I'm doing something wrong. Okay, so 67% kill participation for Super Marco. Definitely much better. Usually around the 8-minute mark, he's around level 10. But here, he's level 11. Gold difference. Look at that massive gold diff compared to the average that he's done since in this game number 3. Just goes to show how much better of a time Super Marco was able to have this time around. Again, because Falcons, as pointed out by the casters earlier, decided to focus on one thing this time around: their control and their advantage in the center of the map. The fact that he was able to deal almost 7,000 more damage than he does on the average by the 8-minute mark
let's say numbers. So let's revisit what we saw in that last draft. Team Liquid Philippines was on the red side, but I feel like that was a red side that could have been played much better, considering the fact that that is their comfort side. 17-6. They usually do red side so well. It's their most heroes picked in that side, but it just didn't work out. The Moscow, the Glue, the Basha, Farsa, Hayabusa, all together. Fantastic draft by Falcons. Fantastic way of being able to play it. They weren't reactive in game, they were proactive compared to their reactiveness in the draft. You love to see it. It was a dominating game, but it was a game that the Falcons needed to potentially start their crawl back into this one.
That's true. It was really well needed, especially because you need that tempo. In the best of seven, like we mentioned earlier in the Infant's Keys to Victory, it's a
Oh, yeah.
test of endurance. And in order to pull something, you gotta have some wins. You gotta have some dubs. Even in life, you gotta have those small wins so you can go and win the big picture,
Yeah.
right? So I really like that for Falcons,
Yeah.
and we're also seeing a bit of evidence why a lot of teams really strayed away from the old drafts of regular season, right? We're seeing evidence right here.
Yeah.
So I hope that we can see something very more similar to Falcons here, that's sticking to what they know as well, and maximizing the heroes that we have. Like Liquid still really scary as well. I hope we see more of the Glues, the Hayabusas
Yeah.
today.
Oh, terrific game by the Falcon squad. Kyle TZ, of course, MVP. Flap TZ on point with the century. Great timing alongside Ogwin. Pew was a monster in this one. And, of course, Super Marco, we saw what he did.
Right. So let's throw it over to our Champions Arena once more with Hans and Calusi. We got an interview lined up for you guys.
Maraming salamat sa ating panelists. It is Team Falcons getting a point. 2-1 ang ating score. But before we proceed with all of the matches, Lucy, I'm sure that we have an esteemed guest with us today. Everyone, please welcome from the Department of Tourism's, of course, that is none other than from the Director of Film and Sports Tourism, Director Roberto Alabado III. Director Robbie, it's so nice to be here with you today.
Good afternoon, and it's very exciting to be here.
And you know, honestly, dun sa napag-usapan natin kanina, right? I think this isn't your first time watching
Oh no, I was here in the M5.
M5 World Championship.
Yes.
So that was a really big moment para sa atin.
Hello,
Being able
hello,
to
hello,
host
hello.
something as big as that, right?
Yes, that's really big. Just
Nah,
imagine a lot of
nah,
people
kalau
coming
sekarang
from
suaranya
all over the
bagus,
world
Gus.
visit
Cak,
the Philippines
cak kamu buka
just
YouTube, Gus.
to host
Suaranya
the
bagus dan, Gus.
to see the matches here.
Well,
Saya
we're
pakai
doing
ini
this
soalnya.
Galusi, so that says a lot, right?
For sure, for sure. Direct Robbie, I wanna
Cak,
ask, how
cak,
important is
cak,
having these
cak.
events for tourism? Lalo na pag
Halo, halo,
ang
tes,
MLB
tes, tes, tes.
Pilipinas
Satu,
ganun
dua,
minsan.
tiga, empat,
Yes,
lima, enam, tujuh, delapan,
kinakailangan kasi
sembilan.
natin, in tourism, we're asking for reasons for people
Kita
to
atur
travel.
filternya
Kanina,
dulu ya,
may Phoenician
biar
kanina,
suaranya enggak.
galing pang La Union. They traveled coming here so that they
Nah,
can
ini
watch
tinggal ngatur
this. So we are
filternya
always
aja nih.
giving reasons for people to
Gimana ya?
travel.
Lupa
That
saya.
is tourism.
Filter,
That's
filter,
very
filter
great
ini,
to hear. But
filter.
how about esports as a whole, Direct
Halo,
Robbie?
halo, halo, halo,
Where
halo,
do you
halo, halo,
position
halo.
esports now in terms of tourism?
Kita patiin dulu suara ini.
Esports,
Diam dulu
we're
kamu.
looking
Nah, kita atur. Halo, 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 halo. Tes, 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 tes. Oneng, 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 oneng. Halo, guys. Ini bagus tuh, Gus. Nah, ini baru mic. Kita pasin lagi, kurang masih berisik. Di sini pas, pas. Nah, tinggal nge-push kita. Halo, ini udah bulat belum suara ini? Ini hilang. Ini ada berisiknya. Nah, ini pas nih. Kita pasin dulu, tes. Tes. Halo. Kita tambahin bukaannya. Berisiknya kita tambahin. Halo. Tes. Wah, ini udah bagus banget ini, Gus. Kita jadi penyiar radio dulu. Halo, selamat malam semuanya bagi pendengar Pl setia. Kita di sini bersama Popolan Kupa. Mana tadi? Kok masih bukannya kurang banyak ya? Jos, coba kamu ngomong. Masuk nggak suaranya dari sini? Ngomong, 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 Gus. Ngomong, Gus. Ngomong, Gus. Ngomong. H A B C D E. Oh, nggak masuk deh ya. Kamu harus punya mic sendiri, guys. Berarti, guys. Mic berapaan ya? Tes, 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 tes. Coba Gus, coba cek Gus suara saya. Jadi live. Itu kucing kamu like dulu Gus. Hah? Gak ada suara. Gak ada suara? Oh ya kan saya ininya saya patiin. Nah,
Technical
nah coba saya hidupin ininya. Oke, di sini berarti Franco-nya Godland ya guys ya. Terus linknya ini ROM ya guys ya. Gimana Gus suara saya? Oh. Dah suaranya udah lumayan lah guys. Udah nggak kayak bencong lagi ya. Siapa Gus? Ya kamu sama saya. Kamu satu, saya satu. Tambah ini. Di sini aturan 3. Saya kan nonton juga di sini. Nonton di YouTube sendiri. Mandi dulu lah. Habis itu kita nge-push rank sampai immortal. Kita full screenin dulu. Kameranya kurang atas, Gus. Kameranya kurang atas. Monica. Beautiful, beautiful.
Is that correct? If I hope that's correct.
Yeah, I didn't know that was an adjective you could use. You know what? That's cool. Beautiful scalp. You have beautiful scalp.
Scalp. There you go.
Yeah.
That's better. But you know what?
Beautiful people. So many people around the world right now.
Watching MPL Philippines playoffs, and they know here we are, right? In all their glory. Look at that.
We have Watch Fest going on all over the country in Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao, the three major island regions here in the Philippines. And of course, it's nice to have a quick look at, of course, at our PH and English casters desk and our PH panelists as well with Midnight and Chantel.
Ini pas belum ya?
MPL PH Watch Fest, you really just have to understand that this is a national thing in the Philippines. All over the country, people are watching. That we set up opportunities for people to watch.
Suaranya aja kurang bulat ini.
All the way to Quezon City. So shout out to everyone who is watching at our watch.
The longest time watch fest, the finals playoff, have always been the time when MPL players, ML players in general, meet up their squads and just see each other in real life.
Yeah.
So I hope that you're able to do that, invite your friends to watch fest and just have a lot of fun.
Kita jadiin 2 coba. Nah, kalau ini udah bagus banget ini, Bos. Kita jadiin 2 juga. 2 MS. Ini 100. 100. Terus 2 ms 100
Hello! I had so much
rasio
fun waving at the
4.
watch parties earlier and seeing how hype all the audience were, but this is what makes the entire evening exciting. It's Falcon securing a point against Team Liquid Philippines and us not going for a sweep. I mean, I did vote for a Liquid, but I would not want a sweep in the lower bracket part.
Yeah, no one would want to sweep at this point. So far, though, our draft very similar to game number 3. Same picks. Is it going to be a Hayabusa and Farsa again for
Oh
Falcons?
my
Or going to be, oh yeah, this is going to be the same one. Will it change here for TLPH, the third pick?
Oh.
They steal the glue. Great response by Liquid.
That's a great response. Honestly, just going down to the durability of Falcons, because that's the biggest problem of Mohem earlier. That glue is
Tes
it's
tes
hard to
tes
get rid, especially when you have enemies in frontliners that
tes
pressure you.
tes 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 tes
Yeah,
tes
you have to have someone who can
tes
be that
tes
solid
tes
tank
tes
just to take up the damage from
tes
Team Falcon,
tes
especially
tes
considering that right
tes
now the damage distribution
tes
between
1
Liquid
2
and Falcon
3
is
4 5 6
weaker.
7 8
Earlier it
9
felt
10
like Team Liquid Philippines were
tes
playing too
tes
much on the setup. They
tes
had two
tes
heroes to go for
tes
setup,
tes
and once you
tes
put them in
tes
dangerous
tes
positions,
tes
it's just
tes
so hard for them to get out.
tes tes tes
That
tes
defense
tes
is
tes
putting
tes
aside
tes tes
saying
tes
that
tes
it came all the way from the
tes tes
southern
tes
outposts of the Philippines.
tes
Just to watch them
tes
play. Thank you so much,
tes tes
Liquid Power.
tes tes
Real
tes
stout.
tes
Yeah,
tes
that's a real
tes
stout.
tes 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 tes
So
tes tes
hopefully every all your you also have a
tes
confidence on
tes
that.
tes
So
tes
Yeehaw to
tes
Liquid Philippines.
yeehaw.
tes
We
tes
don't
tes
even see the
tes
Hanzo, by the way, but we see him now as a
Hanzo Hanzo
Still
Hanzo Roam
looking
Yeah.
masa Hanzo Roam
junglers though. Are they banning out the lane
Hanzo
again
God
for
Lane
Team
lah
Liquid Philippines?
Hanzo God Lane
I would
Hanzo
kind of
God
guess that
Lane
too. But then again,
halo halo
maybe
halo
they're
halo
just
halo halo
testing
halo
something
halo halo
early in
halo
the
halo
draft and
halo
banning out the
halo
lane.
halo halo halo
Which
halo
will
halo
make
halo
it
halo
so
halo
difficult
halo
to
halo halo
lead.
halo
Whoa!
halo 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 halo
What?
Is that a challenge?
Oh hey!
oh hey oh
Oh
hey
no!
oh hey
No,
oh hey
this does not look good for Falcons right now.
gas 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 gas
Go back to the days
60
when
dB
Player Matilda was a
kompresor
very
Yep.
reliable early
kompresor
jungler, you know?
Yeah.
kita jadiin 6 ya
It's either gonna be a
6
top
6
or a
6 6
Fredrin. I feel like it's what we were also
6
thinking
6
about here.
6 6 6
So yeah, they can
tes
go
tes
tank sweep, put in all of
tes
the gear
tes
into your
tes
basket. That'd be a great draft
tes
for Team Liquid.
tes
Falcons need to respond
tes
instantly.
tes
They gotta go tanky again, and I think
tes
Super
tes
Marco
tes
is something that
tes
can move
tes
really well while
tes
finishing out basic attacks
basic
and
attack
can also
basic
survive.
attack
Is that the
basic
early
attack
That sounds
basic attack
insane.
basic
Could
attack
be enough
basic
damage.
attack
However, still
basic
on the
attack
Hayabusa Force side,
basic attack
could be okay.
maybe okay Kimi
They went for a Bea.
All right, there we go. I like that.
All right,
alright
not the calorie. Big swap out. And like you guys were on point with that one. It's the Alpha Jungle PLPH.
Frightening early game. Team Liquid are
ini skin apa
on
Gus
their Liquid Stampede
skin legend
identity.
kayaknya
While for Falcons, they do have a Khalid with them in the roam.
skin legend
Potentially
skin
some
legend
tempo here. But this is not going to be as easy a game as game number 3. Up in the air for me, this one. But JP guesses Matilda. That might be the X
skin
Factor.
legend skin legend skin
Full DNA.
skin legend legend tes tes
The TLPH is bringing that back.
tes tes
Flavor with it.
tes tes
They have to
oh, wow 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 wow
be the difference maker here.
wow tes tes
Number 4, Falcons keep
the
it
book
close.
tes 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 tes
Well,
tes
favorite
tes
has returned to the
tes
lineup.
tes tes
Very little stats we
tes
have from
tes
Jungle Alpha
tes
are now making its way into the playoffs. Welcome to game number 4. Finally, Falcons on the board.
Jungle Alpha Gus
Far from equalizing. This is a clash.
Alpha Matilda
Ian, is this the right time to bring out the Alpha again?
Yeah, if you pair it up, of course, with JP's Matilda, could be a viable option for TLPH, especially as we approach the 8-minute mark. Things could go well for TLPH up against Team Falcons.
Yeah, and I feel like it's not
Matilda
just
sama
Alpha that the Matilda could work
siapa
well
nih
alongside
Juxin yang kayak kita
If
semalam
they
Gus
go to the Jushin, if they
aggression, then they can do just that because they'll get the first kill, they'll get the guiding win, so they
Masih
can create
kepake ya.
danger. And I feel like you could say the same for Stanford, right? You often see these kinds of duos where it's excellent to just dive deep
Apa itu
into the
namanya,
lane.
Khalid masih
There's
kepake.
someone to catch him. There's someone to save him if ever he gets in a very dangerous position.
Patrick lawan Patrick lawan Granger Gus. Nih Gus tutorial Patrick lawan Granger.
Especially in the early game. Don't let Super Marco scale up early on. Carl Teasy goes in with the ultimate. Paired up with Stanford.
Wah anjay, gak ada yang mati.
They got what they wanted.
Yeah, they were clearly forcing a fight there. Even a pickoff at most for Kyle Teasy, but he got his level 4, so I feel like that was a bit of a signal too for Team Liquid Philippines to maybe be a little more safe in terms of their next someone before that.
Apa kita pakai ini ya? Audio input capture.
Bottom corner of the map. Even without kills, I'd say Liquid is ahead here.
Yeah, especially with the way they're controlling the map right now. Lots of zones from JP and Stanford. Free turtle for Carl Teasy. Let's see how Team Falcons will respond. What trades will they look for?
Wow, I feel like for now,
AP
they won't be getting any
test
still about to secure
tes
were so worth it.
suaranya kayak ada angin-anginnya gitu loh. Tes tes enggak gemes.
So far, TLPH, Sanji and JP, their combo again is slowly working for them, giving a lot of space for OHEB. This is what Brigid is mentioning. Not just the Alpha will benefit from the Matilda, but also OHEB. Eventually, they'll stack up fast.
Yep. And a game that has OM losing a lot is a tough game to win for Liquid. And now it's clear. There's the troll.
Everyone jumping in. Kyle Teasy goes in with the
Tes
AD shadow kill.
tes
Out
gas
damage.
gas
So far, 3 minutes in.
gas gas
They're allowing
gas gas
double lanes. You're
gas
see this for Team Liquid Philippines.
gas
Probably
gas 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 gas
establishing and carrying out the entire Liquid
tes tes.
is when they're able to gain
Ini apa ya?
full control
Desktop audio,
or
window
dominance in
capture,
terms of what we see
window
along the mid
capture,
and along the river side, which was something
spender, spender tuh apa artinya?
what happened.
We're on our way to
Tes
actually
tes
witnessing a brand new kind of Liquid
tes
style. They don't have to kill you.
tes 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 1 2 3 4 5 6.
Without having to kill, they're just getting what they want and moving on.
Having a lot of information, not giving Kyle Teasy a good time. So far, game number Kyle Teasy started out.
Kyle Teasy.
Came to a point before 8 minutes, he was 5-0-0 already.
Kyle Teasy lawan Kyle Teasy.
The damage from Ogwin forced out to use a raging sandstorm. Got caught out there by the Eagle of Sanji to be able to take him down. Kyle Teasy jumps in with a shadow already with
Khalid ke counter ini ya,
Crimson Peak.
Matilda.
More than enough to save himself.
Fancy feet by Sanji. Didn't even need to use the flicker.
Yeah, and look at that. The first casualty we see in the game was actually just a punish.
Ter, nonton dulu live saya, Ter. Like dulu.
Went all alone.
Woi, cepet woi.
And now this could potentially be another free objective for them.
Carl Teasy again. Uncontested turtle take. But now Team Falcons, they might
Like dulu, Ter.
their usual strategy.
Ini udah ada mic-nya ini, Ter. Udah bagus, Ter.
Eventually help him scale up. And it's gonna be Flash and Ogwin to help them reach the goal.
Even if that is the plan for
Nggak denger ya, Gus?
1,000 behind from OHEB, already on his way to become
Suara saya udah bagus, Gus. Sumpah. Di sini. Gus, seneng bener saya suara saya bagus.
Play that Sea Halberd before anything else because
Tinggal muka aja ini, Gus.
liquid in their overall sustain, but they're able to hold onto the turret and at least
Gus. Tutupin dulu, Gus.
fundamental level. Falcons is playing the right way. They know how
Right
to step
way.
in. But again, it seems like Liquid is ready for this. Liquid is prepared to go slow, but
Go slow. Apa artinya go slow, Gus?
Wins the race. They now convert in one objective. A third take. If you're gonna look at the level gap between the jumpers, 2 level gap already.
Two level gap.
Stanford jumps in again. Beautiful stun on to Marco and to Kyle Teasy. 3 everything like this purple buff is a lord with the shadow of
level
foundation.
gap,
Able to
level
place
gap,
down, but they
level gap,
stole it away.
level gap, to 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 level gap. Nah, ini bagus nih. Wih. Ngapa? Ngapa? Udah kasih mandi dulu Gus, pegang ini Gus. Malu saya Gus. Harga diri gua.
Sehari. Ya udah bener suara kamu sendiri Gus. Enak Gus. Suaranya patah-patah. Level cap, level cap.
Just for the Spear of Alpha, they forced out the Raging Sandstorm. Now immediately transition to the middle lane to take it down. Immediately Shadow kills not.
Kalung apa itu?
Sandstorm latches on to Cloud easily. Even if it's a back, they might be able to bring it down and face the kill off to Ohem. Ultimate might be the target here. Destiny once again.
Nah.
Those kills into objective. You're starting to feel how TLC know that they are running out of time. They have to make things quick because Super Marco is one of those. He's one of those. He's one of those heroes.
Belum.
That you will have a terrible time fighting up against if you do lose the lane.
Mandi. Kok tadi ngomongin saya nggak mandi, makanya saya bilang belum. Dia ngeliat sendiri. Tahu Anda. Kok tadi habis kemana kok? Ke warung apa itu? Yang di SG. Tadi berhenti.
And how did Kyle TV suddenly disappear like that? We barely see any kills. There were no snipers or stats. There were no snipers or stats, but he just got deleted with a Rhapsody. So
Ngapa ditempelin gitu?
Every single
Jadi tadi kok tempelin.
that they can see. Practically, Team Falcons have
Kabur lah. Orang maksimal tuh panjang. Suara audionya enggak ada.
You have the high ground advantage. You have good firepower to do just that. 8K now ahead, Liquid Philippines, and alone on OHEM, alone 3,000 over Super Marco.
Berdua doang ya?
Tell people online he's got a lot of money.
He has money. We're not gonna believe whatever he said in the past anymore.
Ya apa-apa
It's
dia.
different now, and it's gonna be easier for Team Liquid Philippines to make use of the sword that they secured because they've already pretty much taken out some of the holy shields that are still intact.
Jangan ditempelin.
They still have the one in mid, and they have Super Marco. You know how reliable the penetrate that Idris Passion is gonna be when it comes to wave clear. Yeah, but the thing is, POP's dive-centric life.
Ya dimakan dulu lah sana.
The ultimate can come from the Beatrix, especially with the lead that they have. There goes the ultimate from Beatrix. Luckily are the Lord.
Shield popped in mid, but Falcons take care of business. In comes Cal TV, shadow kill.
That's the call. We need shadow kill to be able to clear out the minions, but immediately Flap Teasy got deleted. The cavalry expected the damage of the feathered airstrike, but they were able to pop all enemy shields. Not even the backshift felt tanky enough. And now they're gonna transition to the mid lane. Oh, look at Sanji! Even Sanji goes in with the Crimson Beacon to zone out Team Falcons. Base now exposed. Super Marco able to clear it out. But their minions onto the bottom lane. OF gonna make sure to bring down the turret.
And down it goes. 2 lanes exposed. Media capture tuh mana ya? I don't know what the worst is over worst because that is what they're staring down. A 12K gold lead approaching. Kecil banget ya.
Zone out the size of TLPH.
I think at best it's a successful raging sandstorm.
Mandi siya.
It's way Bennett's rage for Super Marco and the third airstrike, but so far, Team Liquid Philippines, they're not allowing themselves to be put in such a position!
The lantern flare from Sanji was just too much. In an instantaneous burst there for TLPH, that's an 11.5k gold lead.
I hate to say it, but we're throwing back to 2022, early 23. A slow-paced stampede.
Sanford again with the flicker in. The Kyle Teasy feeds off the kill to OM. A double for the MVP. And match point for Team Liquid Philippines.
Precision macro put on display by the first seed of the regular season in Season 15. Team Liquid Philippines, one game away from going to the grand finals.
Such a carefully executed, such a clean play, and probably a different version indeed of the entire Liquid Stampede.
I'm not comfortable with this. Redmar Rockhart, how'd they do that?
That match point was first to swing. I mean, they figured out something very early on in that game, and they did not let.
Yeah, again, it was just a remix of the previous draft, except this time around TLPH drafting on the red side, changing things up greatly. They went for the glue third pick, then Matilda Alpha last two picks. Now, when it's a lineup that has an assassin versus a lineup that's focused for the Viper utility jungle, then the assassin lineup is willing to give up the early turtles, the first two ones, because you're going to try to get ganks elsewhere, get wins elsewhere, but Team Falcons just could not get that. Or, if you are confident enough to play better than the opposing team, then you're going to try to take it to them to the skirmishes. But the skirmishes that we saw that led to 0 kills for a long amount of time meant that this guy got to farm up so easily. This was textbook old school utility jungle playstyle by Team Liquid Philippines that meant that they fed into their carry, their gold laner, their regular season MVP to take control of this game quick.
1011 GPM. Definitely got money in the bank. And with 100% KP as well. Basically filling out the whole graph. He did everything that was necessary for TLPH to actually get in. And yes, you can confirm. He's got money.
Yep.
You can ask for it. You can ask for money.
He is the rich guy. I mean, not the BPI rich guy, but he probably will be. Okay, so for Falcons, now their lineup was, again, their choice. They decided to keep drafting the same way. It was Team Liquid Philippines setting the tempo in the second phase with their third pick. There is a realm that they could have gotten this win, but it was more difficult to get there compared for Team Liquid Philippines. Again, the reason why the utility jungle playstyle dominated for so long, when it's paired up with a strong support roamer, is because it's easier to pull off. The lineup that Falcons has, compared to the lineup of Team Liquid Philippines, is more difficult to pull off. And especially when it's empowered by a really good and strong EXP laner with great crowd control that breaks formations in the glue, then Team Liquid Philippines definitely had this in the bag at the end of the draft. With the way that they played, yeah, it was just way too tough for Falcons to control.
That's right. Despite the lineup for Falcons looking like it could give you a good fight at the very late game, with that Matrix and Super Marco, we were not given an opportunity to actually witness that. Bearing that is a 12-minute and 13-second game. So there was just no way for this lineup to shine. Few was the closest that we could get to see Falcons putting up a fight against TLPH. But then again, he was consistently getting dove on non-stop. Lantern flares over his head. It was just so hard to actually get things done by this Marsa.
Yeah, this was a fantastic game by Sanford, Carl Teasy, Sanji, and JP to set everything up for OHEB. The rotations of Team Liquid Philippines, really good. They were able to invade the jungle at the right amount of times. They weren't forcing things to happen because they knew naturally they had the easier lineup to pull off again, the deadlier lineup, because they literally, one ultimate from the Alpha changes the picture of a team fight for Team Falcons. Even though they have the counter in the Feathered Airstrike, that's pretty much it. Caltese can only do so much with the damage of his Shadow Kill, especially as you see, he did not even scratch 20,000 damage dealt in this game, only 18,327 because of the shields provided by the Matilda. And confirmed, he does have money.
He does have money.
1,011 GPM, crazy.
That's the highest GPM we have so far in the playoffs.
Yes,
The closest
yes.
was like 940 something
Yeah.
by King Kong. So this is absolute masterclass of how to use that Granger. Again, nerf to the ground as much as he wants, but you know what? You can never nerf a player. He is the Filipino sniper.
Yeah, this is the great thing about the meta, honestly. In the post that I made before the playoffs, this meta right now rewards creativity and flexibility. This was one of the main conditions here for Team Liquid Philippines. Show your adaptability to survive, because this is the meta where assassins and fighters in the jungle equally thrive. All right, so we're back in